start the show. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, Brett Blackman, I'm so glad you ascended. I have also ascended to another episode of Cat Calls. I am Cat Bine, and this is my show that I do every Thursday on my channel, twitch.tv/catbine, K-A-T-B as in boy, E-I-N. Why am I spelling it when you're already here? Well, because I put every episode of Cat Calls up on my YouTube channel after the fact. So you might be watching it there in some sort of weird time travel mumbo jumbo, which if you are and you haven't come to a live episode of Cat Calls, I don't know what you're waiting for. I do this every Thursday. You should be here. But you know who is here? Francis Sun Photo. It's so good to see you. Brett Blackman, Jamie. Whoa, I love you. She's got the emotes, everybody. She's got the phone emotes. Look, I actually have a phone. It's not just a computer thing. It's a real phone. Anyway, I am so excited to have this episode of Cat Calls because back when I started this show in April of 2020 during quarantine, you might have heard about it, I had ideas for who I wanted on the show, and one of the first people that I thought about was this absolute legend. If you've never heard his name, you've definitely seen his work, and you are definitely a fan of it. I mean, as long as you have taste. Everyone, give it up for Glenjamn, everybody. Yeah. Glenjamn is the man. Glenjamn is the fucking man. I have been watching his sweaty, messy, chaotic video clips for years. He is truly the eyes of the bloghouse era and everything that's come from there. His videos capture some of the best parties and DJ sets in recent memory, totally legendary moments such as Thomas Bangalter hopping on the decks during Busy P's birthday party set at Dim Mac's Cinespace in LA. That was a mouthful, but it's very cool to watch. Sans helmet, by the way. Thomas Bangalter is someone in Daft Punk. You probably all know that, but I'm just saying in case. Glenjamn has now become a staple of stages from Los Angeles to Miami and around the world. That's cute. We were just watching his Daft Punk clip. We actually only recently connected on a personal level because he was on the inaugural Sailing of Friendship in 2018, and we both ended up in the cabin party. Oh! Glad Eric wanted to hang out. We both ended up in the cabin party where they were definitely playing Mr. Wazzo tracks. 2133, best party ever, some might say. I might say, Zach Schlein might say. But we're going to see what Glenjamn thinks about that. He's been doing a lot of work in quarantine. He has not just been sitting around on his laurels. I know it's true. And he's been getting very involved in the NFT art scene. And I want to definitely pick his brain about that. But more than anything, I'm excited to hear how he became this cultural beacon who has collected iconic moments throughout the last 15 years, and I want to know exactly what he plans to do with all those iconic moments, you know? I think he's up to something. But before I get him on the phone, I want to give you guys a little bit of a taste of what Glenjamn's all about, and so I'm going to play for you the first 6-minute clip from the very long, he basically captured the whole party pretty much, from the room cabin 2133 adventure that I was just talking about, the inaugural friendship, and when we come back, I will have Glenjamn on the line, so stay tuned. I'm gonna put Flat Eric back on a shelf, or maybe I'll just sit him like this for the whole show. I don't know, what do you guys think? Stay tuned and try not to be too jealous. I know it's it's especially hard because, you know, COVID.
Arrêtez de vous reprendre.
Fucking
This guy.
fashion Jason mask.
So we are back. We're live, and I have Glenjamn, everybody. I am so glad that you all enjoyed that clip. I actually was saying to Glenn, I forgot that that was the same clip where I got the t-shirt from Busy P by name. And yes, as you could all imagine, I was peaking. I kept thinking like 15 times during that night. I was like, I'm peaking. This is it. But for you, that's every night, Glenn.
Yeah, I mean, without the drugs, yes, I'm peaking every night. Like, I definitely peaked. Yeah, I passed my peak at this point. You know?
Yeah, the peak is so, I don't even know where it is anymore. It's just out there. I wanted to also tell you that this is kind of a cool thing for me. You know, you've been to so many, actually, let me ask you, you've been to so many legendary events and been in so many great rooms and seen so many incredible DJ sets. Where does that night rank for you in terms of like, wow, that was very special?
Well, I mean, it's very special because like even when you're on like a holy ship or a friendship or something, everyone's playing sort of like newer music and stuff like that. In my head, all I can think about is like I just want to catch those moments where they're playing like all the old hits. Like, you know, I'm an old man, you know, so
Same.
To be there for things that literally tug on my heartstrings, that's what I like. That was a special room because you never get Busy P back to back with Boys Noise, back to back with
too many
DJs,
yeah.
with like Gary as just like a bystander in it all.
It's true.
Like, in the back, like Danny Days was just chilling.
I know.
And then we were just talking earlier about how like there's literally a guy wearing like a Jason mask with Louis Vuitton print over. It's just like a crazy. It's a crazy hodgepodge of things, and they're all things that I really like. I love the craziness of it.
Same.
I love the nostalgia of it.
Absolutely.
I love the fun of it, you know?
It felt like an old school, like I am like you of the kind of bloghouse era, saw Daft Punk, had my life changed, and I'm constantly chasing that dragon of what those dirty, sweaty, gross parties used to be like. And for me in Florida in college, it was a lot of house parties before they started being in clubs. And I can't wait to talk to you about what it was like to be in LA during that time. But that's what I thought was so fun about that night. It felt like the energy of back in 2007 when it was very dirty and unfiltered. And of course they were playing every song that I love. It was just like the hits.com all day.
I'm all about, like, you know, I'm a big person that's all about like nostalgia. Like to be honest, I always called myself like a historian when I was just filming stuff, because even though I was living in those moments, I knew that later on, like, yo, this shit is crazy. I'm sure it's going to be something important reflecting back on it, you know? Mm-hmm. And luckily it is, because I could have just wasted my time on like really like crap, to be honest, you know? Like luckily all this stuff that I've invested all this time and energy in was like actually life-changing for many people aside from just me, you know?
It's true. Yeah. You weren't just hallucinating at all. It wasn't just the talking.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah. Just in the beginning, during those early days, yes. Not so much now. I can't even hang with that anymore.
Yeah. Well, I just want to let you know quickly before I start hearing about you that actually on that friendship, I met my boyfriend on the first night at that Sail Away Too Many DJ set. And you captured the exact moment that we first talked to each other. Yeah. So that's how I know that it is a legendary moment, because Glenjamn caught it on camera.
I'm there for those kinds of moments.
What are the odds?
Those are the icing on the cake moments, you know?
I know, it's cool. I'll have to show you sometime, another time.
Yeah, please do.
Thanks for that.
Of course.
You didn't even know it. No. Okay, so before we get into all this shit about DJs and traveling the world and Fashion Week and what have you, I want to hear about your background and when did you first pick up a camera? Were you always a little filmmaker, or what was going on in baby Glenjamn's life?
I mean, growing up, I never really touched cameras, to be honest.
Really?
I was never compelled to do anything until I went to that Daft Punk show in 2006 at Coachella. Like prior to that, it would just like, it never occurred to me that like I, you know, looking back, I'm like, I wish I took photos of like when I was in like high school, when I was in like college, you know, like more memories of that kind of stuff. But to be fair, ever since that Daft Punk show, everything changed and it needed to be documented. And I'm happy that I at least got that portion of my life documented, because it really sparked my interest into taking video, taking photos, just being a part of that like historical documentation vibe. Because, you know, prior to then, it was just a throwaway moment. I literally had a shitty camera that I bought, and luckily I had even that during that Coachella show, you know?
I totally can relate because I had like my old Canon digital camera and I took videos of it. I saw them in Miami and then I saw them at Lollapalooza. And I would be at house parties with people like making them watch my stupid little square LCD screen. And they're like, even then they're like, what the fuck is that, dude? Because it was early on in YouTube. It wasn't even like people went to see concerts on YouTube yet. There was just like not a culture of it.
No, I mean, YouTube was barely a thing by the time I started my channel. Like, I think so. Like, yeah, when I started, I had like a couple videos of like me, you know, traveling, my first like backpacking trip in Europe and things like that. You know, just like things that I thought were maybe cool. You know, not as opposed to now when everyone just YouTube's like them going to the grocery store and they think they're like hot shit and they're gonna become the next like Jake Paul or Charles.
Oh gosh,
Charlie
yeah. Every
D'Amelio
time you
or
get a
whatever.
package, you need to do an unboxing. Kids do that
I'm
without
like-
a camera in the room, by the way. I just want to say.
It's beyond me at this point. Like I was more about recording the cool shit around me. I never thought I was the cool shit. So it just flipped now as to what YouTube has become, where everyone thinks they're the Daft Punks instead of like what's happening in front of you, which is actually Daft Punk, you know?
Yeah, interesting. I feel like we could also flip that and let like since Daft Punk went on tour, it's become this like stare at the DJ because they're gonna do a cool trick. When even during Daft Punk's concert, it was so much about like the people I'm around. This is insane.
Yeah.
And I love that you always have a moment like that. Like you always show the crowd. You really make it feel like I'm in that room and not just. I mean, you get the great shots of the DJs doing their thing and the people who are there standing by the stage, but then you also get the crowd, you get the people making the crazy faces, what they're wearing. We were looking at A-Track and his do-over set from, I knew it had to be the late 2010s because I saw a girl in a neon tank top with dark black hair. And but actually, I want to ask before I forget this, GPS, though, is wondering why all your previous channels have been taken down. Do you re-upload everything? How many times have you been through this?
So there's actually a funny story. Like the original one, like my main plan was to just have Glenjamn as my channel, you know? I had a channel for about like a year and a half kind of. And then in, I think it was like 07 or 08, it was the year that Prince played at Coachella, you know?
Oh. Amazing.
I took a video of Prince playing the full song of Radiohead, Creep.
Oh.
Like, and then like, it was like I had gone to the show and also I went like a couple days before Coachella, I went to the Kanye West Glow in the Dark tour, which was like I went to that tour specifically because I heard that he hired all of Daft Punk's lighting guys for that tour. And it was like an amazing show. Like the stage moved. This is like, 07, 08.
Yeah.
This is before you see like everyone have like that kind of a show, you know? It was like the first time seeing something like that after Daft Punk. So I was like, oh, I like snuck in this camera I'd bought. I spent like $35 on parking to like park my car as close as I can in case they're like, yo, we got your like you can't bring your camera in or whatever. But weirdly, there was someone in front of me in the security line and they had like a snapshot camera and they were like, yo, you can't take that shit in. And for some reason, I like bypassed that and I like snuck in my camera and filmed like 25 minutes of this set, right?
It's because you had that look of like, yo, I'm Glenjamn. I get the best footage. Let me in.
It does not hurt to be an Asian guy with glasses and a camera. Like it's totally the norm. It was totally the norm. Like, oh yeah, that's probably whatever. You know?
It's a tech guy. He's into tech or something, right? Yeah, I don't know.
So cut to going to it's like filming some of that, uploading it, and then going to Coachella, uploading that Prince thing. Like the day after that Prince thing, it was on like Brooklyn Vegan, that blog, to date myself. It's like, it was on Brooklyn Vegan. It had like 250,000 views on it, and that was like, I've never had anything that had more than like 1,000 or 2,000 views. I was like, oh, this is crazy. And then by the time I drove back on Monday from Coachella, my channel got taken down.
Oh, wow.
Because of like automatic, because, this is before strikes or anything like that on YouTube. It was just like, that and a combination of that Kanye footage. Yeah. Like I had pretty much uploaded stuff that, they're going to believe Kanye and Prince over little old Glenn, trying to create a YouTube channel.
Prince is notoriously like in charge of that shit. Like
I was
he's got his
so
hands
aware.
on it.
This is like when he was alive. So he probably was like nothing is up. You know, like nothing.
He probably
gets to stay
personally kicked you off of YouTube,
Yeah.
and that's kind of cool.
What was crazy though is like a couple years later, I had read something where like the people, like the guys from Radiohead were like, man, it sucks. We never got to see this clip of ourselves or of Prince playing it because it got taken down, you know? And I was like, oh shit, I took that, you know?
Your
And
clip. You need to
Yeah.
send it to the Radiohead guys.
the thing is though, I found out years later that some Chinese website had ripped it, uploaded it. Like there have been people like, if it's gonna get 250,000 hits, someone's gonna pirate it. And I was
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm glad that someone got to see it, you know?
Yeah.
Like I tried to re-upload it one day, and I think like the YouTube like back end algorithm thing, they just knew, and it automatic like it uploaded
been
to like
flagged.
99%. And it was just like taken down immediately because I think they just knew it. So that's why I don't have the original channel. I made a second channel called Glenjamn 2, which houses like a bunch of other like legendary stuff. But that thing only has like 7,000 subscribers.
Wow.
And then I made a third channel. I literally like registered a third, fourth, fifth channel in anticipation of like the other ones getting taken down.
Nice.
So when
Get
I did it,
fooled
it was
once.
just like, yeah. Now the most recent one has like 140,000 subscribers of people that have been looking back at those videos. Like, thank you for that. But it's just like, I trust me, it would have been like so much more like it would have been way better to just have Glenjamn Twitter, Glenjamn Instagram,
Yes.
Glenjamn YouTube. But now it's like Glenjamn 3, and everyone's like, what is the 3 about?
It's
And I just tell them-
Glenjamn.
Yeah. And I just tell everyone like, oh, I'm just a big Dale Earnhardt fan. You know, like, you know,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I'm into NASCAR number 3.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Leave him
But yeah,
guessing.
Yeah.
That's
why.
When was like Glenjamn born as a concept? By the way, not a real name, everybody. Glenjamn
It's not a real name.
is not a real name.
Like growing up, I think in my sophomore year in high school, I did a speech for like a speech class. And for some reason I was like, oh, I'm like introduce myself as Glenjamn Franklin, you know?
Nice.
And like, as if it's like some like regal, like, you know, and the thinking was that like, if Ben's formal name is Benjamin, then Glenn's formal name must be Glenjamn, you know? Like, and from that point, it's like, now everyone's like, yo, Glenjams, oh, Glenjamn, like, you know, like Glenjamn, but spelled wrong. And like,
man.
all that shit happens. And I'm just like, I just tell everyone, you know, like, thanks for even mentioning like
Right.
seven of the 8 letters, right? You know? So I'm just like, I'm grateful like that I sort of conned people to even saying some form of this
It's all
word.
a
And,
trick.
yeah. And and people are like, oh, what's your website or whatever? I'm just like, yo, type in your best version of spelling Glenjamn on Google and it'll just direct you to like, did you mean this instead, you know?
That you could be a did you mean is pretty spectacular though.
Well, there you go. That's my one claim to Google fame is I'm a did you mean for sure.
If people put my name into Google, it probably says, did you mean Katie Bain? But that's a whole issue for another time.
Yeah.
So when did you start getting serious about the filming? And did you like upgrade your camera? I think to this, it's also cool that you don't like go around carrying the biggest setup. You don't have like lights
Right.
and this and that and the other thing. It's very handy cam with you, which I
Right.
appreciate. I think it goes with
Right.
the vibe of the parties. But like you have obviously started taking it more seriously and been taken more seriously.
Yeah, like when I first started, like I had this like really shitty, like it was about this big. It was called a Kodak V570 camera, right? And I bought it because it was like, oh, it fits in my pocket, you know?
Yeah.
But I realized like the audio wasn't that good on it. And like the more parties I was going to, like the low light wasn't really good. And then in like about 08, 09, I got a job working for Disney.
Wow.
As a producer for on like Disney.com. So I worked there for a couple of years. So, you know, so I was like making money and I was like, oh, maybe I should like buy a better camera, you know, like before I didn't buy a better camera because I was like unemployed after my previous job, you know, like I was just like, this is cool that people are paying attention while I go to parties at night. but what I should be doing is sending out my resume and getting a real job, kind of, you know?
Yeah, being your own mom. I love that.
Yes. So when I finally got a job, I was like, oh shit, I can afford a camera now, you know? So I bought like that video camera that I filmed like that Prince stuff and like the Kanye stuff back then. And I was like, but my main thing was like, I was always the guy that wanted to sneak it in because I knew I was paying attention to like, they were starting to like be like, yo, you can't bring your camera in, you know, because they were hiring actual photographers and actual videographers now. Like in 06, 07, they weren't really doing that. But in like 07, 08, 09, see, now you see like a personal guy with like a red cam following like Steve Aoki or something.
Oh my God, they all have them. It's crazy.
and I was just like always the guy that like, I was big into gonzo filmmaking, you know? Like I was just like into the way that like Hunter S. Thompson does things. Like I wanted to go left when everyone was going right. Like, and to be honest, I was like, I'm making money during the day at Disney. So this isn't my job. It's like a glorified hobby, you know?
Yeah.
So I was just like, I just want to be comfortable. I don't want to bring in like a backpack everywhere I go. I want to sneak it in. I like was all about like fanny packs and like, you know, little side bags back in the day.
Yeah, before they were cross-body bags that Louis Vuitton would.
They would just be like, "Hey, Glenn, like, what purse do you have today?" You know, like, and I was just like, "Yeah, like, no, it's for the camera." You know, it's like it's for the camera. And I always bought like a little bag that would fit all of the like camera stuff. So like, you know, the more I went along with it, I was like, oh, maybe I need a better camera. When I started getting hired for like hard music festivals and like. They're like, if they're paying me for decent footage, I need to up my game a little bit, you know? Yeah. And then when everyone was shooting photos with SLRs, I bought like other cool cameras for like street photography, like a Ricoh digital camera, which was still like $800, you know? But it was just, it fit in my pocket and it captured more of an aesthetic that I wanted. Like I wanted the lazy gonzo, like you can shoot it like this too footage, but the one thing that was separating it was that I just got the access because people trusted me with it, you know?
Totally.
So yeah, I was more about that because, you know, and it has my own aesthetic to it though, because I don't want the perfect shot. I want like that dirty, grainy, like fucking sweaty, smelly, like visceral, like video that comes from my kind of shit, you know?
Yeah, same. I feel the same. I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate
Your
that.
videos capture what I remember in my head. And I always feel, like, I've always thought it's so kind of lame, and I understand why they do it. And it's not lame in the sense that they shouldn't do it. But, you know, every music festival after movie is such a fucking bill that they're selling you. It's like, you know what a music festival experience is? It's someone else's sweaty arm next to you. It's a terrible smelling line by the porta potty. And it's you sitting on the grass with your friends having a conversation out of your mind, making memories. Like, it's not this like slow motion girls dancing. Yeah. Like it rains sometimes. At least I'm from Florida, so.
The first time I saw Daft Punk at 06 at Coachella, you know, I didn't film it, but I definitely puked before I saw them because I was like rolling on E on my second pill ever.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just like, like, you know, those are my memories, you know, and even me filming my perspective of it, it's like already glossed over because you're not seeing like the crazy shit in my head going on, you know?
Right.
I'm like, you know, there was definitely a point before I saw Daft Punk, I was like, I'm going to die right now. You know, like.
I shouldn't laugh. It's like obviously serious.
No, I didn't die,
because we've
so
all
it's fine.
been there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool, but it's one of those things where I'm always like, but I try to get it as close to that as possible.
I just want to shout out Francis Sun Photo is relating. He's also a photographer, or they're also a photographer. I don't mean to gender anybody.
Yeah,
and,
I appreciate that. Like cameras are expensive. I've definitely broken like 3 cameras on tour, you know? But then like, that's why you buy the insurance when you buy the camera. Cause like I got another one sent to me right after because I spent that like extra $100. And it was just like one of those things where like you learn because like the first time I broke a camera, I don't think I had insurance. So,
and your balls just went into your throat.
Yeah. And then like, Francis Sun, I totally get it. Thank you for saying like expensive camera gear does not like define you. I was all about that because there's so many great people that take photos. Like I love Mark the Cobra Snake. I love like Ronnie's photo booth. I love like Last Night's Party. All these guys, because they were like, we all grew up together.
Yeah. And
we were very like, yo, you're doing your thing, I'm doing my thing. Nobody was like a dick to each other about it.
Yeah.
Everyone was very like helpful with it. So, you know, and I adopted that mantra whenever I met like new photographers on like Holy Ship or Friendship, like, you know, John like, or James Coletta and like Odagio and like all those guys are like homies. Like Rooks is a homie because, and they shoot all in a different style from me, you know, and we're just like, we've done it together, and I'd rather be in a collaborative group and like be friendly with each other, because like at the very end you're like, don't cop an attitude that you're a photographer, because bro, we ain't shit, you know? Like, to be honest, you know.
I mean, I definitely know that feeling from being a journalist. There's no room for cop an attitude with anything. But let's talk about your memories of that time in LA and the kind of like 2007 to 2010 glory days of what everyone now refers to as bloghouse. It's my favorite thing. What are your actual memories of that, and how does it feel to cross over from like, I'm the annoying guy with the camera in your face, to, hey Glenn, get up here, like get this shot?
I mean, back then, like I said, I was working at Disney. So during the day, I was working on like the Hannah Montana album, like Jonas Brothers. Yeah, no, not even that kind of.
I know.
Terrible, like High School Musical, Jonas Brothers. Like,
that's so funny.
Have you ever heard of a guy named Mitchell Musso? You know, like,
oh my god,
that's the kind of shit that I worked on. You know,
yeah.
Like I would help Disney Records create websites for that kind of stuff. So at night, it was like like freedom from that world, and it was like the music that I got, you know, like it understood me back, because back then that whole bloghouse energy, I equate that energy to like punk rock energy, where it's very like, you know, even the way like Justice and stuff dressed, you know, they're wearing like Metallica shirts, leather jackets and all that shit. That's the kind of energy, the dirtiness that I really adopted. Even though we're in like fancy Hollywood clubs and shit like that or whatever, it was just, it was my like creative outlet, like me taking photos of this and documenting this. Like, even though I'm getting paid, you know, way more during the day to work on this like other stuff, I'm shooting this stuff for free at the time because I just really, really enjoyed it. Yeah. You know, it really helped me release like the pent up, like that music during the day doesn't understand me, but the music at night understands me. And then I became friends with everyone at the clubs. Like, you know, most of my best friends, they're not like from college and stuff or high school. They're from like clubbing over the last 10 years, you know? Yeah. So it's just like, yeah, it's pre-ship fam, you know? It's like, it's like club fam back in the day. And true. LA though, back then was just like, there's so much going on, you know? Like, I would go to Steve Aoki's party at Cinespace on Tuesdays. I would go to Frankie Chan would throw stuff on like Tuesdays as well for iHeart Comics. I think it was called like Check Your Ponytail. Then I would go on like Thursdays to like Shepard Ferry, who does Obey Giant.
Yeah,
He had a party called Dance Right, you know, in downtown. So and then cool. Friday, Saturday was like the weekend. So it was like when like the bigger acts would do like one-off concerts and stuff at like, you know, the Roxy or the Viper Room or whatever. And then on Sunday though, I go back to LAX for Banana Split Sundays with DJ AM, you know? Yeah. And that always was like tied everything together. So whenever that kind of stuff happened, I was like, yo, I'm all about this stuff. There's so much cool shit going on every other day in LA. Meanwhile, I have to wake up by like 8 or 9 to get to work the next day.
Young, to be but I was still, something. Yeah.
But I was also a guy though that didn't really drink a lot, you know.
Smart.
So I could sustain. I smoked a lot of weed back then. I don't really smoke that much now, but I smoked like for me, I was like, oh, I can do my like substance of choice, which was that. I could still have fun just being like stoned, but very socially stoned, you know?
Yeah.
Like I didn't just like sink away in a corner. I was like, yo, like this is so tight, you know? Like, and I would just like jump on stage. I was very like before I met a lot of these people, I would just jump on stage. I would like check when a security guard's looking that way.
Smart.
And just jump on stage because I was just like, if I can get this one shot, it'll be all worth it, you know?
Yeah.
But other than that, I was just like enjoying the moment, but fully enjoying the moment, overstepping bounds, kinds of enjoying the moment.
Yes.
But it was just such a great time that, like, you know, when you look back at it, there's nothing that equates to like that freeing collaborative time anymore. Yeah. So I am happy that I like pushed the boundaries on that kind of stuff.
Were you still someone who was sneaking onto stages when you got that footage of Thomas Bangalter in Cinespace, or were you now allowed?
Well, so through the years, like, you know, this is me being like the guy that at first couldn't even get into the club. Then like going and every week going to the same line and the door guy seeing me to the point where he's like, all right, Glenn, like you can go in, you know, and then like bringing a camera. I was just very like consistent with it, you know? Like I would have a camera. Sometimes they'd be like, yo, don't shoot, whatever. Yeah. But then I would always post it the next day. And then like, it would get to a point where like, oh, like Busy P is reposting my video, or like, you know, even the Justice guys are like, you know, they were really into like fan shot footage stuff. So like the user generated stuff was like, it meant a lot to them because they're true artists, you know, they see the value in those kinds of things. So by the time I went to that Thomas Bangalter thing, it was Busy P's birthday. Right. So he had texted me and he's like, yo, Glenn, it's my birthday. Some shit's going to happen kind of, you know? And for me, seeing that show was like, oh, wow, like the secret guest must be A-Track. It must be Justice. It must be DJ Mehdi. You know, like it must be Kavinsky. Like these guys were all playing before even Thomas Bangalter went out. You know, so for me, I was like, oh, this is the shit that Busy P wanted me to be here for, you know? Like him dropping like a new Sebastian track that hadn't come out. Like maybe that's why I'm here. And then, so he like propped me up next to the stage to the corner where you could see how like close I am to everything. Yeah, you're there. And I just stood there for like 3 hours, you know, just like getting whatever came out from that angle. Wow. And then, so when the Thomas Bangalter thing happened, I was just there. And I was already recording and it just happened, you know? So I didn't even know it was going to happen. And you could hear me in the background be like, holy fucking shit. You know, like, I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, what is going on? And I'm just like so excited because my brain is literally, you know, it's melting as your brains are melting. But I'm just the guy that's like, as I'm holding the camera, I'm just trying to like do this as less as possible, you know? Yeah. So like when I got there, I'm just like, I would like to say that, like, I was sort of friends with Pedro by then. Like, I just dug up a photo the other day of me. Like, I took a screen grab of me in Pedro's MySpace top 8, you know? And it was like, it's like Ed Banger Records, like, So Me, Daft Punk. And then you see, like, me as one of those. And I'm like, this is crazy, you know? Like, this is such an internet moment to me. Totally. But I'm the nerd that like, oh my God, I got to take a screen grab of this shit. You know, like.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah, I'm glad I did too. Because
that should just be so crazy. Your social media picture, at least for like a day. You should make it that.
It was a crazy time, to be honest.
Okay. I did put together a tiny little like 1.5-minute clip of some footage that you sent me. So I want to play that before we talk too much more. And then we'll come back and we'll chat some more about what you've been up to lately. Sure.
I mean, rest in peace,
Makes
DJ
me emotional.
Mehdi, you know?
Yeah. I'm so
Like-
fortunate. You obviously got to spend so much time with him. I saw Justice on their first tour, you know, that MTV one where it was like Diplo was supposed to be there, but then he wasn't. But DJ Mehdi was playing at this club in Orlando, and there was this booth set up in the middle of the room, and I didn't know who Mehdi was, but we got there, and I just remember being like, this set is fucking amazing. Like, what's this guy's motherfucking name? Mehdi? All right. Like, I fuck with this dude, Mehdi. And it is fucking tragic what happened. If anyone doesn't know, he passed away in 2011, I believe it was, a freak accident. But watching you that was the final performance from Carte Blanche, am I right? Him and Redon, and that's just a beautiful moment. Anyway, I'm done talking. You can talk about it now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's, to me, that I like right now, I get chills rewatching that kind of stuff because, like, it was one of those things where, like, I shot it at Festival in the Isle of Wight in England.
Yeah, I saw
like,
Annie Mac, so I knew it had to be a European thing.
So it was crazy because, like, I met Annie through a mutual friend at Major Laser's Carnival in London, you know, and it was during like Notting Hill Carnival in London, and I had gone because I'm really good friends with Switch and like pretty good friends with Diplo and stuff. So they were like, "Yo," I had just like I think lost my got laid off by Disney, so I was like, "Yo, I got all this time.
Good riddance now.
Like now I can like travel now, you know?"
Yeah.
And it was like one of those trips, and then I met Annie, even though I met her a couple times before, but she didn't really like know me yet, you know. But at that point, I was like staying with Annie in like a hotel together because like Switch was like, "Hey, crash with us" or whatever. Because like, you know, I'm like out of a job, I don't have any money. I'm just like the guy, but I'm like really good friends with them.
Yeah.
So like, you know, I flew out there, met them at the carnival, and then Annie's manager, Lucy, was like, "Hey, you should come to Festival since you're already in Europe, you know?" And like, she like bought me a plane ticket to get to there. I traveled with her, and then like I stayed with like Annie Mac and like Lucy and like Fake Blood and like all these people in like in a bed and breakfast in the Isle of Wight in England, you know?
Yeah.
So like I've never been to a European festival. Like I've never been to like I still never went to Glastonbury, even though I wish I had, you know? But Festival was an awesome place. The energy was amazing. Everyone dresses up in like crazy costumes, like, you know,
cool.
Everyone like Fake Blood was in a crazy fucking costume the entire time he was there.
Not enough costume parties. I love a costume party. I love a theme party.
No, that whole Isle of Wight, the whole island was just like, and like British people go fucking ham at this shit, you know?
Yeah.
Like I literally walked by a tent and I just saw kids throwing ecstasy pills into each other's mouth in a tent. And I was like, y'all are crazy, you know? So cut to that, Annie Mac had her own stage, you know, for Annie Mac Presents. And she's just like, she's like, "Hey, Glenn, like, you can do whatever you want." So I'm just like on stage filming shit, you know?
Yeah.
And that year was like, and I've known Riton and Mehdi for a while because of the whole Ed Banger connection. Like I've known, Mehdi was one of the first DJs that I met in the whole Ed Banger crew with Justice and like Sebastian and stuff. I got the best intro through Kavinsky of all people with them, you know? So like after, you know, meeting him a couple times and stuff, I was like, oh yeah, I love Carte Blanche. I love that like Gare du Nord, the song that was like hitting at the time. So I'm like, of course, you know, I'm going to just shoot around and like film stuff, you know, just my way. Like you can see like the weird angles. I'm just like on stage, like behind them, in front of them.
Shout out those dancers real quick though. They're getting
dancers
it.
are killer.
I don't know if there was enough of them in the video I made, but watch it on YouTube.
Beautiful people all around. And then, but what's crazy was that like Mehdi, that accident happened like a couple weeks after that performance. You know, so like when I heard about it, I was with like Brodinski in New York at the time, and we just like cried in each other's arms in New York because like he was such a foundational piece of the bloghouse scene, you know? And, you know, we talked about this before, and like he helped make rap tracks in France.
He was
and,
like a legend of the hip hop scene with
and like he co-produced shit with like Thomas Bangalter from Daft Punk,
Yeah.
So it's like he was like a foundational piece. Like everyone has so much respect for him in France. I had a different kind of respect because he was in that generation that helped me grow as a person during like those initial Justice, Ed Banger, bloghouse years that were going on in LA. Like whenever they came to LA, they were superstars by the time they came in, and they would let me hang out with them aside from just the parties,
Yeah.
They would like bring me up on stage. Mind you, I'm holding like the worst cameras filming a lot of this,
They love that shit.
Is, like,
There's
it's
some
terrible.
lo-fi nasty freaks too. We all know it.
But we were homies because like, I was just that like I wasn't that annoying to them. Like I wasn't like, hey, I need to get this shot. They were just like, just do your thing.
Yeah.
And I was like really respectful of how they treated me. And Mehdi was one of those people that like always like took me under his wing. So it's a crazy moment. I look back at it fondly, but yeah, it does. I do get a little sad looking at it because I wish he was here to be a part of what happened to all of this,
Mm-hmm.
And like it changed. He changed the game, and he's just like. He's a legend. He's a fucking legend, like
absolutely. Mehdi forever.
Yeah, for sure.
Mehdi forever.
Like if you ever go to Paris, go to Père Lachaise Cemetery and like drop a flower.
I did not realize he's
there.
That makes sense. I was actually there a couple of years ago.
Yeah, like everyone goes to see like Jim Morrison from The Doors, but
Oscar Wilde is there.
Oscar Wilde, yeah. There's like but he belongs
absolutely
in the company of legends because. Especially in France, like he did so much. Like one time I met Drake, because like Woodkid was directing this video for Drake and Rihanna once, and like Woodkid is, I met him through like the years of all this music stuff. Like I got an intro through like Brodinski a couple years back. He invited us to this music video thing, and I met Drake, and I have a photo of Drake wearing DJ Mehdi's Club 75 jacket, because like. What's fucking sucks was that like they were talking and they were probably gonna make a track together.
Don't even hurt me like that, man.
So it's just like there's a lot of levels to this that like when I think about it, and like I was just like, like I don't know Drake. Like I'm like, you need to wear this jacket. I need to take this photo of you wearing this jacket. Just cause. And he was like so nice and he did it,
Yeah.
And I was like, that made me appreciate Drake even more than just like a fan of
I've heard
of
he's really nice.
He's very nice.
Love
he was
Drake.
very nice that day.
That day. I love that you say that
like
day.
I haven't really met him again.
Right, yeah.
He was extremely nice, extremely courteous. He was so excited to wear Mehdi's jacket, and I'm just like, that's a real one,
That's
like
true.
I fuck with that,
Yeah, absolutely. People who are about the culture for real.
For sure.
You have expanded in the years. I mean, before quarantine happened, I feel like you were just everywhere. Or maybe it feels that way because of social media, but you started going to fashion weeks, and I'm pretty sure you like hang out with Virgil Abloh and all this stuff. Like, what happened between that moment where you first get flown out to Festival and becoming a full on, this is what I do, I'm Glenjamn, bitch? Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, it was like sort of because like I was getting a little bit more known during those years I was working at Disney. Mm-hmm. And there was a time at Disney where I was just like, I can't wait to not have this job anymore so I can finally travel. Cause like that was the time where like all my friends that I've made along the way, like Boys Noise and Brodinski and all these guys, they're like, hey, let me know when you're ever in Europe. Like we'll hang out together and you can go to our shows and stuff. And I'm just like, I can't fucking wait till this job is over.
Fuck this mouse. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I got paid really well.
Yeah.
Like, but then,
there was
handcuff. But then like, then I went on like fun employment for like a year and I like used all that money to like fly around and like travel and like, stay on people's couches and stuff where at the time I'm just like filming everything that they let me film. I can just put it up on YouTube. I don't need to make any money off of it. I think like the access of it is sort of, it was rewarding enough to just be there, I'm like, and then pretty soon they would start flying me out from Paris or from LA to Paris then they would let me crash, and then like it would just happen more and more where I would work a lot with Brodinski to when he was forming Bromance Records and stuff. And then when that happened, I was like part of that Bromance team to a certain extent. So they were like, oh, you have to be here when we're doing this stuff, you know? And then it was just like, you know, shout out Brodinski, and like, cause he really put me on.
Yeah.
He really took care of me. He's younger than me, but he still took care of me, you know? But like he did all these things that like paved the way for me to like get access to even be at places. And then he always gave me the best intro. And also there was a time where he was like, yo, I'm thinking about coming to LA and staying there for like 6 months. And my roommate had left. So he was my like Brodinski was my roommate for 6 months in LA,
Nice.
you know? And like, I was always a guy that would like drive him around, and like, we would always have dinner, and like, I take him to all my friends, like streetwear, like warehouses to like get free gear and all this shit, you know? So throughout the years, like, I wasn't just being like a nobody. I was trying to like contribute to everything, to the point where like, I felt like I was like, just like a member of the team whenever I went to like Europe though, you know, like if I went to England, Annie and like Switches people would take care of me, you know, or like I even got like a 1-year gig as like sort of like consulting for Ninja Tune Records, you know?
Amazing. Love Ninja Tune.
So it was like, and that paved the way to like, if I go to France, like that was where like my family was. And like during those bromance years though, like there would always be this guy hanging out at the sets and stuff. Like, and that was Virgil, you know, he would always just hang out because he's really good mates with my friend Guillaume Berg, you know, like the blonde dude that was like, had the bloody mouth in the Homieland 1 record. That's Guillaume Berg, but he's like so integral to the scene. You like, he's friends with like everyone. You like, he like Kanye knows him, like everyone knows him, you know, like he held like Northwest when she was a baby. Cause like Kim had to leave, Kanye had to leave. And they were like, oh, we'll just leave him with Guillaume for a second, you know? And he's like one of those like trustworthy people.
Amazing.
So when Guillaume and Virgil would hang out all the time, like I was like, oh, dope. Like, and I had no idea he even worked for Kanye's creative team at the point.
Right.
I was like, this guy's just so awesome. He's so nice. He's part of that crew. Like he likes to DJ with Guillaume. Like they made a project called like Paris, Illinois once. And like they were doing all this stuff together. So I'm like, hey, Virgil's so cool. So, you know, we just kept in contact as much as I could because like he just started like his career path just ballooned, you know?
Yeah.
So, but he was like, I like him because he always was like, he paid attention even to my shit. He would always say such nice things about my videos. Like, and I'm like, that's crazy. Like, you're fucking killing it, but you don't really have to mention me, you know? Like, so when Virgil was killing it, weirdly, there was like my friend Olivier, he goes by Olivier Acid, but he has this, he had this menswear, womenswear trade show called Man Woman Show in New York during New York Market Week and Paris during Fashion Weeks. And he was like, he hired me to like, he's like, can you like do your Glenjamn thing, but at our trade show? And I was like, are you sure? You know, like it doesn't really fit. So we tried it once. Then the next season we tried it again. Then he was starting to fly me out to like New York and Paris for the shows. But when the Paris shows were happening, I was like, oh, I'm already here and it's Fashion Week. So I'm going to ask Virgil if I can go to these Off-White shows, you know? So I went. And then after a while, I went to like 8 or 9 Off-White shows, you know? And like, I was getting inundated with the fashion thing. And then I was like, that led me to like getting invited to like a Dior show, or like when Virgil took over for Louis Vuitton, I was like, I got to go to like 2 Louis Vuitton shows. And these are all things that I never thought I would have ever done.
Right.
Like, I'm not a fashion guy. Like, I'm not a buyer.
Look at you. Come on. You're a fashion guy.
I mean, I like to wear cool shit, but I can't afford all that. I can't I'm not a trend forecaster.
Right.
I'm not a person that has like 100,000 viewers or like 100,000 followers. You know, I was just like the guy that liked to shoot stuff, but it was dope because like I just got to be in the inner circle. And, you know, I got to see like Matthew Williams, who did Alix, and now he does Givenchy and stuff like that. It's just really cool to be there as it happens. And it reminded me of that bloghouse stuff where your friends that are growing in the scene are now like Boys Noise and Skrillex and all these guys are selling out stadiums, you know? Like DJ Snake is fucking one of the biggest artists out there. Like Brodinski is like a legend. Like Ed Banger, Justice, like they played at like they had a show in Versailles once, you know, paid for by, you know, like there's like all of these things that happen along the way, and you're just like, yo, like, and Virgil was just another one of those people, and he let me be part of the crew, kind of. So
Jamie Woe wants to know if you have a higher appreciation for fashion having been to those events. Like, does it change the way you see? Yeah.
Well, for sure. Like, I dressed like trash years ago. Now, like, they're nice enough to send me stuff, you know? Like, so I wear, like, I can't afford it.
Poor kid.
Yeah. Like, I got a bunch of, like, free Nikes because they think I'm, like, somebody, or, like, you know, like, I'm getting clothes sent to me. Yeah. And I'm like, thank you for help glowing me up, because I'm too broke to glow myself up, you know?
I love it.
But it was just, like, nice. And then I had a more appreciation. Like, I would meet certain designers along the way. I would meet like really cool, influential, creative people, like this dude named like Arthur Carr in Paris, who started off as a like a fancy car dealer, and now he just had a Carhartt collab. He had like, you know, all these cool things where I'm just like, I just like when people are so creative that they don't even stick to their one lane. Like, I made friends with these dudes named Paperboy in Paris, and they make sandwiches, you know? And now they're doing like New Balance collabs.
Amazing.
They're doing like, you know, amazing collabs with like fashion brands. Like, and shout out to my friend Verdi, who's in Japan, who has this thing called Girls Don't Cry that just blew the fuck up. You know, and he's one of those people that like I met along the way through this musical wave. Like I met him through like this band called Trash Talk, which is a hardcore like punk metal band, you know? And I went on a trip with them to Japan, and then years later, Verdi is now designing stuff for Nigo, who created Bathing Ape and now runs Human Made, who did a collab with Virgil for Louis Vuitton. So it's like, I love seeing the growth of everyone's, like I'm usually everyone's biggest fan. Yeah. And then I'm just the guy though that has a camera and a video camera and the access to be able to notice it from a very personal perspective. So yeah, I have so much love for everyone, and I hope they see it through my lens, kind of.
Absolutely.
And I just always, like I told you, like I try to be the least cool person in the room, because I think once you have that ego, you start like acting different, where you're not going to get invited to this kind of shit anymore, you know?
Zach has a really great question. I'm going to hold on it, though, because I think this is a great segue into the fact that you're getting involved in this NFT art space right now. Talk about being in the place and watching the people come up and the connections that just start to happen. Talk to me about your experience there. I know later tonight you're doing a talk on Clubhouse about it, but like, what is NFT? Why are you doing it? What made you get involved?
So NFT stands for non-fungible tokens, which is
not mushrooms.
It's not mushroom based, but you know, it's all like, you know, it's the big buzzword within the last couple of weeks. Shout out Beeple. Shout out Beeple. Beeple is now one of the he sold $69 million worth of art.
I know.
Okay, that's
incredible.
Like outselling, you know, even like Picasso's or Banksy's now,
nuts.
You know? He's now in the top 3 of like the art, like in the art game of selling.
And talk about hustling. Motherfucker made a piece of art every day for 5,000 days. He deserves it.
Like, you gotta respect that hustle, because he's like one of those people that like only got paid in social currency and likes and stuff on Instagram and Twitter. And to get that, it's really endearing, and it inspires people. Like, you know, me, like I get paid, you know, to be at an event. I don't get paid a lot to be there, because it's like the totem pole is like the DJ, the manager, whatever, and then the photographer, whatever gets paid, you know? But I'm just, I just have a very positive attitude with it, where I'm happy to be there. And I think that like later on I can make something of it, you know, and like, you know, cash in when it's right. Just like how Beeple had to wait so long and he's cashing in now, like just how like Blau and RAC are cashing in now, but they've been into that whole crypto NFT art space for a while. So
start basically
to go back, NFT is sort of like creating digital art, you know, like it's sort of like all those things that you could have gotten likes for on Instagram.
Yeah.
You can translate that into getting cryptocurrency or do drops where people like can now pay attention to your art in a new way. Like you don't need to think about having space on a wall for your art anymore.
Yeah.
You can now keep it with you at all times in your crypto wallet on your phone, and you can possess this digital version of your art that's just as valuable as tangible art. But it's like it can range from a music piece, like Disclosure minted a piece, you know, and it was like a track that they did.
And they're like doing the face too, I saw.
Yeah. Like it can be anything that like your imagination kind of like, it can go wild right now because it's literally the Wild West right now. Exactly.
Yeah.
Think of it, and then if it's doable, you can do it, you know?
Yeah.
But my way of entering it was, I was trying to create the idea of what if you can mint and sell intangible things, you know? And my first thing that I sold was a memory of being at a Daft Punk show. Mm-hmm. And it was the day that Daft Punk, they disbanded. So I minted it like a GIF, and then I wrote like a whole like story and essay for it. I minted it on Zora, which is a platform. And then like I was in a Clubhouse chat 2 days later talking about it. Mm-hmm. And then it sold for like 1 Ethereum coin, which like now is worth like $1,800, which is so like wild to me because I essentially sold someone an idea of what I wanted to sell. And I think that I'm more interested in the world of like selling the next generation of what's currently available. Like even the Beeple stuff, even like the fuck render stuff, which is like really stylized, art pieces that are still like, you need to be a visual artist or a renderer or an animator,
which
or something
I don't
to do that.
think that I am. So it's very like, I don't know what to do.
Same with me, you know, I'm not in the traditional, like, I didn't go to a visual design school to do things like that. I can't draw worth shit. That's why I'm a photographer, you know, like I can capture memories, but I can't really like draw them from scratch, you know? So I was like, can I be a part of this in some way? And I tried to do it my way, which was trying to like make a GIF that links to an Instagram post where if you go to the Instagram post, I'm trying to sell you the shared memory aspect. Like you get all the likes from that post, you get all the comments from that post. But to me, it's all about breaking down doors and creating a new genre within this infinite world of available genres, you know? Like someone is now minting like tweets. Yeah. Like someone is minting just recipes. Like Bobby Hundreds is minting essays on text files.
Okay, well, hold up. I can mint essays. Now we're talking.
But the main caveat of all this is you need to have some sort of following, or some sort of, or you need to be really authentic with the way you sell it. Like the only reason why people are sort of fucking with my memories is because they know that I've lived a long time in these making memories of Justice playing, of Daft Punk playing, of Steve Aoki doing things, of Kanye showing up at Cinespace, you know? And like, yeah, if you care about that kind of stuff, I encourage you to try and mint your own and try and sell it. It's one of those things where there was a guy named Gary Vee who was talking about all this stuff, and he's been in the crypto art space for a while. He said something really poignant where like 97% of the people that are going to go into NFT, you're not going to make any money. You're not going to sell. Absolutely. Because you have to realize like, if it doesn't tap into someone's like heartstrings through the authentic story that you're making, the kind of art that you're making that evokes memories in them, like the thing that happened was like, with me, I sort of got lucky because I try to mint other things, you know, like I try to mint a pun, you know, just because I think puns are my like love language kind of, you know? And if people understand me, maybe they'll invest in it, you know? And like I just minted my first photo yesterday through Foundation, and it's of like a night at a club that's full with people dancing. And it was just because I was thinking about, man, I miss going to clubs and people dancing. Like it's been a whole year of pandemic. So for me, I'm selling my authentic like stories from times, from things that are happening that are like that evoke memories in me, but I'm not trying to just sell stuff because I think I can make a quick buck.
Of course.
Like, there's going to be a lot of stuff that I put up there that probably will never get any bids, but I just like being part of the process as it's happening instead of being like late to it later, you know?
Well, I feel like that was the best explanation and argument for NFTs that I've yet experienced. So thank you for breaking that down for me.
I mean, I'll be talking about NFTs on Clubhouse today at 7 p.m. PST.
It's true.
With the creators of Nyan Cat and Grumpy Cat. So they're selling memes now for like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's like the doors are open, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I say that if you are willing to get in that world and you're brave enough to do it and you're willing to pay a little bit because it costs money in terms of gas fees, which is like the cost of minting something, because there is a digital energy aspect to this where everything, you know, there's an environmental aspect to it too. So
that's true.
There's just so many layers of it that it's a far bigger conversation than what we're going to have right now.
Yeah.
But I encourage anyone to read into it now, because we're still in the infancy phase of it.
Yeah.
Where like maybe you can sell a memory, you know, because I got to think of it first before other people start. Like, I would hate to sell a memory after like someone else started that whole concept.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, totally. Well, I'm going to put my thinking cap on.
For sure. I encourage you.
Speaking of your memories, what else are you going to do with all this footage you've just been sitting on like a dragon with a treasure trove under his tail for about a fucking almost 2 decades?
Yeah.
My
I mean,
God.
it's crazy. Like, you're talking to a guy that doesn't have a monetized YouTube channel. Like, I have 140,000 subscribers and like a bunch of millions of hits. But
shout out that real shit too.
Like, I don't get paid because have videos of people playing other people's music, and the DMCA stuff took over. Like, there was a time where I did get a couple royalties and stuff for being on a channel. Like, I made a couple $100 a month, like, just doing it, but that was before all the DMCA stuff happened. So I had a point where I was like, do I keep these up for free or do I take them down because I don't make money? And for the love of the game, you know, authentically, I have to be true to me. Like, I'd rather have people watching these things and remember it, because to me, I always thought of it as like an encyclopedia of bloghouse and digital music.
I feel the same way about my writing and my interviews and whatever. I'm just like, this is for the world to have.
Yeah.
Like,
these are timestamp moments of like how it was from a different way of recording history, you know? And I'm like, the money will be there later. And hopefully in a couple, like right now, I'm literally trying to like make a documentary or a documentary series with like a proper studio. Like, I've done like a teaser. I'm already making the second cut that I think will be ready to pitch, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, it's still a couple years away of like it being fully done, but I'm having the conversations with like the people I want to collaborate with, like all the influential people in the scene, but also in the influential scene, like that goes beyond just the music.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say too much about it, but I'm just trying to be doing something like that is totally my point of view as a fan that loved it, still got access, still got to be friends with them, still got a lot of insider shit with them, but I still approached it as like an outsider, because like, you know, earlier when you're like, why do you take footage of fans and stuff in the audience? I think of it as a shared experience, and I always was like, I take video of kids in the audience because I want them to look at the video and be like, oh, I'm in this video. You know, like, you know, like that video of you getting the shirt from Busy P, that's your memory. It's like, I recorded it, but that's your memory for you. And I want you to have ownership in all of these moments. Like when I shoot stuff from like on stage, there's a big portion that I zoom in on the crowd. Yeah. Because I think that it's just as important for them to be a part of it. And to see the crowd loving, and they can see them singing along to it. Like, that helps add to the energy of it, you know, and it makes it a bigger thing. So I'm going to try and collect all those things, do interviews and, you know, all that stuff. Maybe it's a movie, maybe it's a series based on how much stuff there is, but there's so much stuff to unpack. Yeah. And I'm working with like a really good team now that's like a very like professional team to help me do it. Like, when I saw the first cut of the teaser, I almost cried because I'd never been a part of anything so professional looking, you know, with all this like raw gonzo footage that I've just been like chucking up onto YouTube every day, you know?
Yeah.
So now it's like, it's getting serious, and I'm trying to like take it seriously, but not lose my voice
The
in
soul,
it. Or,
yeah.
you know,
The
like
you.
people would always ask me like, hey, how come you don't DJ? You know, you can DJ because they'll let you go on tour with these people. I'm like, I love them so much that I don't want to fuck up their thing, you know? And like, I'm pretty good at what I do in terms of shooting it, just to be opportunistic and start DJing just cause would be a total disservice to myself and everyone else, you know?
I agree.
Because no, go on. Like, no, you talk. I talk way too much. Like.
It's about you. No, but I recognize that feeling as well. Like, I've had a lot of people ask me, so what do you want to do? And I'm like, doing it. Like, I'm here to like record people's stories and share those stories, because I always think of the fans, right? I'm like, I was a fan who devoured music journalism, who devoured interviews with the artists, who wanted to know the stories behind the songs. And that's what I'm here to do for those kids who want that now, right? Like, I'm not here to like I mean, it's cool when you get noticed, but it's like, I don't need to be any more of it than I am. I'm here to observe, relate, share, experience, be a conduit, whatever. Yeah.
This is why, like I said, we're somewhat kindred, like in that kind of respect, you know? Like, it's just one of those things where I never wanted to be in front of the camera, really. Like, I was always like, the memory is happening around me. Yeah. Nobody gives a shit about me.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Who cares, you know? So I'm like,
too.
And I'm trying to, hopefully with this documentary and stuff, will reignite that kind of level of what YouTubing means to me. Like, I'm not concerned with like a Jake Paul unboxing something. Like, Jake Paul shouldn't be the thing. It should be what's on the other side of the camera that should be the thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I hope to create like a sort of a revival of that kind of energy, because I think when I joined YouTube, it was like recording what was around you necessarily than just yourself, you know? Mm-hmm. And all these people, they think they're like hot shit, and I don't like that energy. Like, I've been to so much cooler shit than they've been to, but I don't act like them, you know? Like, I make it a habit to just not being that guy, because like, nobody wants to talk to the asshole. They want to be there with like the person that has like the puns, the starry eyes of like, wow, this is so cool, you know? Like, people like you, Kat, because they like you being there, you know? Like, they know that they appreciate your energy because you're not an asshole, you know? Like, you're really nice, and you take it with like a lot of like you bring in that energy of like, oh, I was a fan, and it comes out in that way, you know?
Well, I'm definitely loud enough screaming, y'all know I'm a fan.
Yeah, totally.
Or maybe I'm not, and then I won't be screaming. No. I'm so excited. I hope that if anyone was going to make a documentary and I was going to watch it, it's definitely yours. You've been making it all this time. Now you can just start to stitch the pieces together. And I know Francis...
It's a lot of fucking stitching.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stitching. It's like... But man, I got way too many videos.
Francis on Photo says if you need help in Chicago, they're your person. And if you need any help from a talking head, I'm your person.
For sure.
Whatever you do,
you're already on the list, because like,
love it.
Because I'm trying to get the holistic viewpoint of it, not just like the DJs and the producers. Yeah. There's other people. Like, I would love to like maybe record like security guards, shit like that. You know, it's just like,
I've made some great friends that are security guards at the festivals over the years.
I've been choked out by security guards, and then the next year they're like, "Hey, didn't I choke you out?" And they're like, we exchange numbers, and like we say whatever, because we share the space so many times. Like, there's tour managers, there's production managers, there's stage managers. First time they met me, they fucking hated me because I'm like shooting like all up in it. Like, they think I'm gonna like trip over a cable, unplug the DJ booth, and like whatever. But over the years, we became
I'm nimble. I know what I'm doing.
And like over the years, like luckily I have not fucked up the show. You know, like that's why like I got the pass.
That's the name of your autobiography. I have not fucked up the show. When you're ready for that one, like, I'm here for you too. Glenjamn, we're going quite a bit over time. I don't really give a shit. It's been so great having you. I would love to chat with you any other time in the future. But I do want to get to Zach's question because I thought it was poignant. And, you know, as someone who's witnessed so much culture, having been through all this quarantine shit, Do you think get-togethers will be able to reach those insane heights again post-pandemic?
I mean, we have to be really careful with stuff like that, because what we experienced before the pandemic, it will never happen like that, because you can't, like, there won't be a guy like me that gets to sneak up on stage because it's like a health hazard now, or a security issue now, you know? Like, we won't see, like, I shot a lot of stuff when people didn't have cameras in the audience or iPhones yet, you know, because like they didn't have it, so they just enjoyed a lot of it, and I was the annoying guy that did like block the vision of the person behind me with the camera, you know. But it's gonna be different. It'll be great in other ways, because when you're missing something for so long, we're gonna fucking tear the roof off the next time we have a party, you know.
That's true.
And that's fine, you know. It'll be different. It won't be the same as what we had before, but it's the changing of the times. Like, we don't get to go experience how the Beatles experienced in America when they had it. When, you know, we didn't have it when Elvis did his thing. You know, we got if you were there for the Daft Punk show, you were there for something extremely special. You know, exactly. Like, this means Daft Punk to you, and not like The Rock from Jay-Z. You know, it's just like,
so
it means something different. Like, and every couple years, it'll be different. Like, for whoever like, I love Daft Punk, but for like a 11-year-old kid, Skrillex is their Daft Punk. You know, like, it's a different thing. And Skrillex also has so much affinity for Daft Punk. So it's just one of those things where you're just gonna see it, the waves of like all of our influences come out from each other. You know, like Skrillex, he made a song with of like the Doors track, because he was such a rock head. You know, like, and all these things will come out. Like Zach, like, the parties will be awesome again. It'll just be a different kind of a party, you know, with a different soundtrack, with different stars. Like the last couple of years, I've been going to these fashion parties, and I've had the best time at those fashion parties because it has the energy of Bloghouse. Like, right now, NFTs have the energy of Bloghouse.
It's going back to that punk energy, like you said. I always related it to punk too. I feel like you have that whatever punk rock really is, it's that, this is exciting. No one knows the fucking rules. There are no rules. Do it.
Right now, we're in a different level of like punk rock energy. Like, and you know, 10 years from now, we'll be in a different, like, something else will be punk. Remember, punk is only punk when it's like the counterculture vibe of it, you know?
It was jazz one time, baby.
Exactly.
It was jazz.
Exactly. But when it's punk and you live in it, and you're like, even though you're dressed up in like nice ass clothes, but you still have that like dirty mind kind of going into it, that's what makes it punk, you know? That's true. I can't wait for what's to happen. Like, yeah, maybe, like, literally I minted this thing yesterday, and it's called like Saturday Night Corona Fever. And it's a picture of a party with everyone dancing. And in the bottom of it, I wrote in the description, like, I shot this in 2019, like 2 years ago, but it feels like 20 years ago when you really think about it. Like, I was like, people were sweating. We weren't wearing masks.
Not even thinking about it.
Like, sweat was dripping from the ceiling. You know, when it's like that sweaty of a party, it's gross enough that it like sweats, but you're just like enjoying that moment. You know, people were dancing up close. Like, we were talking up close. And it's like, that was a snapshot after a year in pandemic where I'm already having FOMO of things just a year ago, which is insane. I used to have FOMO of these Daft Punk things, which is like 12, 13 years ago, you know? Now I equate a year ago as almost 10 years ago, you know? So that it'll be great once again. We're gonna fucking rip shit up again. It's just that, like, we just have to wear our fucking masks and get our vaccines and all that shit. Wash your hands, because there's no shortcuts. There's like no shortcuts to this shit, you know? It's like, we have to respect the process of getting back to that point before you start thinking of doing that stuff, you know?
It's true.
And that's like a big thing. Like, think about your family, think about everyone else besides your party wanting brain. Because like, there's so many pieces. Like, I don't really go out anywhere out of respect to my mom. You know? I don't do these things out of respect to my family members, because like, and if I'm going to hang out with someone, I'd rather hang out with my family, you know? And right now you're relearning what's most important to you.
True.
Like, you're relearning what's valuable to you, what people matter to you. Like, you don't hang out with 100 randoms anymore. You hang out with like 5 people in your pod, you know,
And
because you trust them with your health.
Yeah.
You know, like you trust them with your life at this point.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Yeah, moving forward, fucking the next party you're gonna have your best friends around with you though. So that's gonna be way more valuable. Like
that's true.
You know who you're gonna trust and want to make these new memories with. So it's like it's gonna be awesome.
I love this whole. What a great vibe.
Yeah, man.
Glenjamn
We're gonna get
with
back
the
there.
Vibes. Yeah. And
I can't wait until I can hang out with these guys again, you know?
Did you have those fuckers hanging out with you the whole time? All right.
Yeah.
I have to let you go.
Yeah.
One quick yes, no, though. Did you really take a blood oath to get that DVD? Because that was the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I mean, I didn't exchange blood, but I definitely shook hands with DJ AM because he received that DVD when he was like sort of down in the dumps at a certain point, you know?
God, yeah.
So like because like he went through that like plane crash with Travis Barker once, you know?
Yeah.
So when he was like recovering from that, I think the Daft Punk team sent him that. What was crazy though was like he sent him that DVD, and then I also got a glimpse of this other folder that they accidentally sent him, and it was all the slides on the pyramid being projected from the end. You know, it was like, you know when there's like the X-rays and like when they're playing superheroes and like it's like they're playing like people and
people's faces.
Like I saw like all of those image slides in it, and I was like, that's insane. Like don't give me this shit, you know? Like
I love.
But it was
respect.
just like it was really cool to get that, but I got a lot of blowback from people like on Reddit and shit because I wasn't like sharing the full quality documentary.
You did it the way you had to do it. You did it the right way.
I did it the way I had to do it because like I met Daft Punk a couple times. Like I had dinner with them once, you know? And I was like not gonna be that guy that just like takes photos, asks them like, what's your favorite song you ever made? Like I'm not that person. Like the one thing I did learn from that dinner with Daft Punk was like I sat next to Thomas the entire time. And then, like, at a certain point, I was like, what's your favorite movie? And he was like, Zero Dark 30 from Catherine Bigelow, you know? So if you want to go into some deep Daft Punk shit, Thomas from Daft Punk, watch Zero Dark 30 and you will have one close connection with him by having watched that, you know?
Amazing. Great question, too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was just like, what can I say that's not like, oh my God, what were you feeling when you were in the pyramid at Lollapalooza? You know, like, no, I'm not going to be, even though I am deep down.
Yeah.
The one advice I have is like for anyone that's trying to like take photos or videos or whatever.
Would love that.
Is like, think in terms of being someone that you can be friends with them by not being the overzealous person like, I need that photo. I need this recording, because if you play it right and you don't get that photo that first time, you'll get invited again to take the photo the second time, you know? And they'll have respect for you by then and they'll know who you are.
Yeah.
And then it'll be better from that point on. Like I'm about having a relationship with the music, not being just like an observer or a listener to the music. Like I've made relationships with the people that make these songs and stuff that I have cherished forever. And I cherish it even more because, like, I know deep down that they don't see me as an annoying guy, you know? And that means a lot to me. Yeah. And it'll mean a lot to you if you do it. Like, someone's always like, how did you shoot Skrillex or whatever? I'm like, yo, like, there are some kids like, I want to shoot Skrillex right now. How can I do that? I'm like, don't shoot Skrillex right now. Shoot the next Skrillex. Like, follow that journey as, like, you see that new DJ that's like 15, 16,
so
follow that journey and like follow it and get the access, take the awesome photos. Cause you know, all my friends a long time ago, like they took photos of trash talk. I mean, they took photos like Odd Future as they were growing up.
Yeah.
And now it's Tyler, the Creator. And now it's like Taco. And now it's all these people that are doing big things, but they trusted them back then. That's how you have to do it. Like, yes, the no thirst is the key. Yes. Like the biggest thing is the no thirst. Yeah. You know? And yeah, if you have that, you gain their respect. And what's more valuable than a photo of them or their respect?
Yeah.
You know?
Because at the end of the day, these people are also just like nerds who are into cool shit. And that's why they're up there in the first place. Because they were once a person locked in a room going, I gotta figure this shit. I gotta make this shit. I gotta figure it out.
Like one of your shows was with like deadmau5 who is notorious for like not fucking with anyone unless you're on their level, you know? But you gained deadmau5's respect to get to that point to record a show with him, you know?
Didn't yell
like Carl Cox's respect.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you know, Mid from Ed Banger, you know? It's like you gain their respect because they know that you're coming from it from a very pure place. Yeah. So as long as you keep it authentic, as long as you keep your journey like just pure, you know, that's it. Like, because you just want to make work that can't be like fuck-withable, you know, like it's like unfuck-wittable. Like if someone looks at my photos and they're like, yo, that photo looks like shit. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, you know, but I had the best time and I have a great story that goes along with it.
It's true.
You know, and like I can live with myself later on being like, I didn't get that photo of that one. Like there was like one time where I saw like Kanye and Daft Punk shaking hands. I'm like, I wish I could have taken that photo, but I didn't out of respect, you know, like, because I didn't want to be another person that wanted that so hard that you're ruining their moment of them just hanging out.
That's
you know?
True. Yeah.
So like, just don't be overzealous. Just be like, literally don't be that guy or don't be that girl, you know? Like whatever that means to anyone, just don't be that person, you know? And if you understand that, it'll take you far.
It's true. Glenjamn, thank you so much for all of your time today. It was so rad getting to chat with you and get to know you better and hear your story.
This was really fun.
Yay!
This was really fun.
I'm so glad. You're welcome back another time. Let's do it. Enjoy your Clubhouse talk. Make all the monies. Make all the fungies.
I'll try. Yeah, please. Hey, if you guys really fuck with my shit, check out my NFTs, support it, bid on some of that stuff because I think you will understand the value and the memory of it. And then if I find out that someone like that really appreciates it, bought it or whatever.
That's the point.
I'll probably like send you a print of it or something, you know? Like, let me show you another thing that I've been working on before I leave.
Yeah. You're like, all wonderful and amazing.
So you know me and I'm being like,
I'm
strictly online person, you know? But like, I'm starting to like, sell like prints of things that I've like, these are my memories. This is me looking at the Daft Punk helmets or like.
It's a gorgeous photo.
Like, this is like actually a reflection in the lake of Echo Park during COVID where I spent a lot of time.
Wow.
And then this is how you can view it either as this or
I
as
love
this. Like,
that.
It's all open to interpretation.
Beautiful photo. It's like you learned how to take pictures all this time. Actually, look, this is me at Friendship at like 6 a.m. looking out. You know? Oh my God, that's perfect.
Like, Kat, I'll probably send you this for free.
Honestly, I will fucking love that.
You live this, you know?
I did.
I don't even know if I'm gonna sell a lot of these, so I'm just gonna like give you this one, okay? So this is documented on the
love you for
Twitch.
That. Thank you. I was just thinking like, oh my God, my boyfriend, that's like, sometimes he just sends me pictures like that. He's like, oh, I just remember this.
Yeah, I mean,
don't worry, I'll buy one of your NFTs. I'll pay it back.
Yeah, I mean, no worries. Like, honestly, like, I'm only doing the NFTs, though, to be part of the conversation now as it's happening. Like, if I make some money off of it, that's awesome. But, like, I was lucky enough even to make that one coin. And this whole time, I've been reinvesting that coin into minting other things, you know? So it's not like I'm like, I made like $1,000 or something.
Right.
I made maybe like $100 out of it because I'm just like pumping it out to pay for minting for other things just to be part of the conversation.
Where can we get, what's the link where people can bid though? Or is that in your link tree or where can
It's in my link tree. The thing, like, it's in my link tree. So if you go on my Instagram or if you go on my Twitter or things like that, there's mentions of it. But yeah, if you can, that would be awesome. And right now it's like, I've only been doing NFTs for 3 weeks. Okay. So it'll get better. Yeah. But right now, as you bid on certain things, I think it's minted in the blockchain forever. So you know when it happened. And it's sort of like if you can bid on something that gets better later with age, having the first version of something before it got even cooler. Like I'm working on with like CGI people and like 3D renderers to do something more proper with my memories. But right now it's like, this is happening in the week that everyone's talking about it. And
Yeah.
in a year or two later, it's of a memory that makes a lot of sense for me. And like I said, if you bid on it and like you're a fan, I'll like probably throw you in another goodie or something. Just because it's not about the money. I'm just more appreciative of people doing things like.
Part of the
so
culture.
it's either on Zora, which is a platform, or Foundation. And yeah, you can find all those links on my link tree.
Amazing. Okay, well, I'm going to hit you up about that poster. I'm going to take your word for it.
Send me your address and like all that stuff.
I will.
Maybe you may have to pay for the shipping.
I
the
can
container.
more than handle that, yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Glenjamn. I don't want you to go, but I gotta kick you off.
Yeah, kick me off. I gotta eat something before I
Please
look
eat.
at other things.
Speaking to our 2K21.